Santa's on his way. Hip hip hooray for Christmas vacation.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. I'm John, and today we're going to be talking about National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and its brand new 4K Blu-ray from Warner Brothers. But before we dive into all that, if you are a fan of 4K Blu-ray reviews, movie reviews, tech and game reviews, we try and do them all here on the channel, and nothing would help us out more than by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. So in 1989, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, directed by Jeremiah S. Chechik and written by John Hughes, and starring Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, Randy Quaid, Juliette Lewis, Johnny Galecki, amongst many great cast members that are in this film. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is considered nowadays to be a Christmas classic, and personally, it is actually my second favorite Christmas movie of all time, and is actually the best of all the vacation movies in my opinion. And just like the two vacation movies before it, this one was written by John Hughes, and was originally supposed to be directed by Chris Columbus, who directed Home Alone and the first two Harry Potter films. But he couldn't get along with Chevy Chase, which seems to be a very frequent thing. Chevy Chase, despite being a great comedic actor in Saturday Night Live, the vacation films, and even later on in Community, from all the rumors, it seems to be that he is a dick on set and kind of treats people, well, he treats them pretty shitty if you're asking me, but you know what? He gave us Clark Griswold, and I guess you gotta kind of forgive him for that because Clark Griswold, especially in this movie, is just fantastic. So Christmas Vacation follows. This time, the family isn't going on vacation. The vacation is coming to them. And this movie is a classic. There is so many great lines in this film. So many quotes that I quote just year round. You know, my personal favorite that me and my wife love to quote is Randy Quaid when they're shopping in the supermarket. And he's just getting bigger and bigger bags of dog food as they're walking down the aisle. And he has no money for his own kids to get anything for Christmas. And he turns to Clark and he's like, you know, after he gives him the list of all the Christmas gifts that he can't buy because he's poor, he hasn't had a job in 7 years, he's holding out for a management position, and I think it's coming. And he hands him a list in alphabetical order and he goes, you know what, Clark? After you get all this, I want you to get yourself something
really nice. Huh?
Randy Quaid steals every single scene that he's in this movie as Uncle Eddie, pretty much as he does in every vacation movie, including Vegas Vacation. He is just phenomenal. It's a shame that he got a little bit loony there towards the end here, but you know what, it's alright, because we'll always have Uncle Eddie, and he is phenomenal in this movie. That blue leisure suit that he's wearing is just great. He has that, I don't know what they call that, but underneath the white shirt it looks like a turtleneck. It just covers up the chest and the back, and just all these great character choices throughout, and just great choices throughout the entire film. Every time that Randy Quaid is on screen, they always have him doing something with his hands, like in the one scene he's drinking eggnog, and Chevy Chase is doing stuff too. He's like trying to put that thing back together that Uncle Eddie broke. It's really cool that they actually have it set up in the way that all the actors are usually moving around as they're acting, and I think that's a really great acting choice, and it just shows you that it had good direction, and it's just a good film. I don't think this does stand head and shoulders above most Christmas movies, but it's actually a good movie. I think it is the best of all the vacation movies. I come back to it at least once a year, if not twice, maybe even 3 times a Christmas season. Just this is one of those films that gives you that really Christmas feel. It does feel like a Christmas from when I was a kid. It doesn't sprinkle that holiday cheer on everything. It just shows, you know what? Christmas, as good as it is, a lot of shit can go wrong, and a lot of stuff does go wrong, obviously, for Clark Griswold, leading up to 2 fantastic monologues in the third act. You know, obviously the one, probably the most famous line I quote, this is good. When Santa squeezes his fat ass down that chimney, he's gonna find the happiest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house. Like, that line I quote all the time as well. There's so many lines that I quote throughout this movie. Frank Shirley, his boss, is played by Brian Doyle Murray, Bill Murray's brother. It's just, this movie, I can't sell short how great it is. Obviously, every movie, the Griswold kids are played by 2 different actors, and in this one, they got the 2 best actors, I think, that ever played the 2. I mean, you could argue Anthony Michael Hall in the first Vacation, but you got Juliette Lewis, Johnny Galecki, and I think they are great in their roles. I can't sell this movie short. If you've never seen Christmas Vacation, it really is one of the greatest Christmas movies ever put to film. John Hughes wrote himself an amazing film. He got the cast and crew to make a perfect holiday film. And if you haven't seen it, check it out this Christmas season, and maybe you'll want to check out this brand new 4K from Warner Brothers that we're here to talk about today. So this is actually going to be one of 4 holiday movies that all came out on November 1st, 2022 that we're going to be reviewing on the channel. We're going to be reviewing this, Christmas Story, Polar Express, and Elf. But we're starting off with the best of them, I think. I don't know as far as visuals, but as far as film-wise, and that is Christmas Vacation. Now, Christmas Vacation's last Blu-ray scan was actually for this from December of 2006, so a very old Blu-ray. This has been repackaged in steelbooks from Target and whatnot, but the same scan has been floating around for almost 16 years, and now we have a brand new 4K scan that they just released. And one big noticeable difference is this is one of the most famous movie covers of all time. Even before I saw Christmas Vacation, I always noticed this movie poster. I think it's one of the most famous movie posters ever made, even though I always thought that never looked like Chevy Chase on it, which is always strange to me. So they swapped that out and gave us a nice slipcover with a nice family picture. And when you pop that off, you get 2 red discs, obviously in the holiday spirit, and to match Clark's sweater on the front of the cover and those Christmas stockings. And that's about it. You get your 4K and your Blu-ray disc. On that 4K disc, you'll find one commentary track. That's the same commentary track that is actually on this Blu-ray disc. And you'll find the movie trailer. So there is almost absolutely no extras on this. And right out of the gate, that is extremely disappointing. They are the exact same extras that are on this 2006 Blu-ray. So there was no documentary looking back on this. I would have loved to get the cast and crew looking back on this film because it is a classic. And I would have loved to hear about their experiences. And it would have been nice to get a lot more interviews. Beverly D'Angelo would have been cool. She seems like cool. I'm sure Johnny Galecki and Juliette Lewis wouldn't mind doing it. It would just been nice to get that on here. At least some new extras. As long as that 4K disc is good, I guess it can be forgiven. And you know what? It is definitely a big upgrade over the previous Blu-rays. Now there is HDR, no Dolby Vision on here, so it's only HDR10. It is a new scan, so it is actually really nice looking. I was actually, at the very beginning, the opening scene when they're going to pick out the Griswold family Christmas tree, I actually didn't think it looked great, actually. I was expecting a lot more from that first original scene, but then once they get past that scene, it really does start to pick up visually. The first time I really noticed a big upgrade visually is when he's hanging the Christmas lights and he gets his arm, he gets his sleeve ripped off, and that's when we first see his yuppie neighbors, which also again have another great line when he somehow destroys their stereo system. They're looking at it and then she's like, "Why is the floor all wet, Todd?" And he's like, "I don't know, Margot." That's another classic line throughout this film. But again, the visuals, that's when they really started to pop, and I think it maintained a beautiful visual experience throughout the entire film from then on. Just that opening scene, although it definitely is improved from the Blu-ray, because on the Blu-ray, it mostly looks like a cloudy day, but now you can really tell it's like a sunny early afternoon, like maybe like between like 12 and 2 in the afternoon, and now it really does pop on the 4K. And the Christmas lights, that's what you're really looking, okay, this is a Christmas movie, so there's going to be a lot of rainbow Christmas lights. In this case, a lot of white Christmas lights because he has to have the best house, I guess, in the entire country. And you could see it from space, and those scenes did really pop, especially compared to the Blu-ray. I did a back-to-back comparison of them, and yeah, the Blu-ray, definitely all the colors throughout do seem a little flat. It never bothered me until I actually watched the 4K, because the 4K definitely was a huge jump as far as, I guess the HDR really did a lot more work than I realized until I watched them back-to-back. And you really do see that jump in visuals. And it also restores the original aspect ratio because the Blu-ray had it at 1.77, and now the 4K is back to its original aspect ratio at 1.85. So it's nice that we actually got that back. And it's actually crazy that we actually haven't had a new scan in so long, and it's really nice to see that this movie does pop. It's definitely a huge visual upgrade from the Blu-ray, but the Blu-ray is just really old. And that Blu-ray, for being a Blu-ray, and from 2006, is really not that bad, but visually, it's a big upgrade from that, and I think it's definitely worth it just for that. Now, the audio, the original audio was a 2.0. Now you do have a DTS 5.1 on here, and I actually didn't think it was the greatest 5.1, if I'm being honest. It didn't make great use of my rears, not much use of the woofer. It was still a very front-heavy track, and the dialogue early did seem a little bit louder than everything else, but that did seem to even out again as the Blu-ray went on, as the 4K went on, but I would definitely say it's very clear. I think everything eventually evened out. At first, the dialogue did seem like it was overpowering everything else, but eventually everything did seem to settle in. And you know, there's some good needle drops in this. Obviously that Hawaiian Christmas song when he's looking out in the pool, and that did sound very clear and crisp, and it definitely works. So I could definitely say that the audio Not the greatest. I would have liked a better audio track, but it's still acceptable in my opinion. It's definitely not the worst. So for me, am I happy with my upgrade? Yes, I am, but I am not happy what the price is. I believe right now they are $25 for each of these holiday 4K Blu-ray releases, and that's almost floating around Scream Factory releases as far as boutique labels. They usually float around at their starting price about $28. And this is a studio release from Warner Bros. With absolutely no new extras on it. Yeah, you're going to get a beautiful visual upgrade from the other Blu-ray that you have, but is it worth it for that high price point? And it's hard for me to say yes to that, because yes, you're going to get a visual upgrade. The audio track is different than that, but you're not getting anything new. So it's really just how you feel about the film. Now, I am a huge Christmas Vacation fan. I watch this, like I said, at least once or twice a year, so I am very happy that I upgraded. Now, I wouldn't have watched it this early in the year if this 4K didn't come out and I wanted to review it for the channel. I would have waited until at least after Thanksgiving. That's one thing I would have wanted to wait for, to buy the 4K, because I do believe that since it's a Warner Brothers release and it's a holiday release, I do think that these will be on sale for Black Friday at probably less than $20. I would say probably floating around the $15 to $17 mark. Probably like a buy two holiday movies, get one free kind of deal. I could see that happening, and I would recommend definitely wait and see for Black Friday, and then if it doesn't drop in price and you're a huge Christmas Vacation fan and you want to see this 4K, then I say, you know what, grab it. It's definitely a visual upgrade. If you're a huge fan of the film, you're going to want the best visual experience possible. I'm very happy that I own it, but I would have waited personally if I didn't have to do the review, and I think you guys should try and wait. Or you're going to want it for those Christmas season viewings, and I think that that's the best way to do it. See if it goes on sale, because like I said, that visual upgrade is beautiful, but the lack of pretty much anything else is kind of frustrating at that high of a price point, and that's just my thoughts on it. So if I'm going to give this a score out of 10 overall, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. That visual upgrade really does push above everything else, including the audio packaging, and definitely the lack of any extras are going to drag this down a little bit for me, but I'm still pretty happy with my purchase. I would have liked it at a lower price point, but I'm still very happy that I own it. And if you guys want to own it, you can also grab it from Amazon. We'll leave our Amazon affiliate link in the description below. It doesn't cost anything extra for you, and it does really help the channel out. And another thing that helps the channel out is by you guys liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and going out and telling all your friends. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, and it's Friday, and that means it's time for our digital code giveaway. For anyone who's new to the channel, we do this every single week. In Friday's video, I will ask you 2 questions. All you have to do is answer one of those questions in the comment section below, and you're automatically entered into our digital code giveaway. You come back to Monday's video, I spin a magic wheel, and we will pick 2 winners. Well, the wheel picks 2 winners, and whoever those 2 winners are, they have their choice of the digital codes that you have seen on your screen before you today. So what are this week's 2 digital code giveaway questions? Well, I think it's a little too early for Christmas, so I'm not going to ask a Christmas question, but I'm going to ask something a little bit around that. What is your favorite family film? So that could be anything that you think or you consider something you would watch with your family, with your mom and dad, with your kids, with your grandparents, anything like that, you know, kind of something, you know, in the Jumanji family kind of range, because that's where my head goes, is right to Jumanji for some odd reason. And then the next question, because I saw a lot of people talking about Steven Spielberg as being one of their favorite directors last week. What is your favorite Steven Spielberg movie of all time? Let us know in the comment section below. You don't have to answer both questions, you just have to answer one, but if you want to answer both, I'm not going to stop you. And then if you do enter, make sure you guys come back to Monday's video. We'll spin that wheel, and we'll see if you guys are the lucky winner. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really means the world to us. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's no better time than now. And if you want to really help us out, like this video, and make sure you run out in those streets and tell all your friends.